offered such transparency in any real way. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports federal officials will not fine United Airlines over an incident in April in which a passenger was forcibly removed from his seat after the airline oversold the flight. The Department of Transportation conducted an investigation into the incident, which was caught on video, prompting a public relations problem for United Airlines, as well as a lawsuit from the passenger, David Dow, who settled with the airline for an undisclosed amount. Despite the backlash, the DOT told United Airlines it found no reason to issue a fine, according to a letter from May and obtained by passenger advocacy group Flyers' Rights through a Freedom of Information Act request. In the letter, Blaine Werke, the Assistant General Counsel for the DOT, said the agency reviewed the protocol United Airlines followed and found minor discrepancies with how it handled an overbooked situation. As for how Dow was treated, the physical aspect of the removal was not mentioned. Werke also said there is insufficient evidence in the record to find that United involuntarily bumped Dr. Dow without offering them the opportunity to continue separately on Flight 3411. He added, therefore, we conclude that enforcement action is not warranted in this matter. Paul Hudson, president of Flyers' Rights, disagreed with the DOT's decision and said Dow's removal was egregious in every sense of the word. Hudson also added for the Department of Transportation to conclude that United Airlines' conduct did not warrant an enforcement action is a dereliction of duty. For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Hurricane Irma, one of the most powerful Atlantic storms in a century, howled past Puerto Rico on Wednesday after thrashing several smaller Caribbean islands with roof-ripping winds, drenching rain, and pounding surf on a collision course with Florida. At least 4 people were reported killed on 4 different islands by Irma, which weather forecasters have described as a potentially catastrophic Category 5 storm, the highest classification for hurricanes. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said the dual-island nation of Antigua and Barbuda was especially hard hit. The northernmost island, Barbuda, home to roughly 1,800 people, was totally demolished with 90% of dwellings there leveled. Irma, with top sustaining winds of 185 miles per hour, is on track to reach Florida this weekend, becoming the second major hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland in as many weeks. While Irma's intensity could fluctuate and its precise course remains uncertain, the storm was expected to remain at least a Category 4 storm before arriving in Florida. 2 other hurricanes formed on Wednesday. Katia in the Gulf of Mexico posed no threat to the United States, according to U.S. forecasters, but Hurricane Jose in the open Atlantic about 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles Islands could also threaten the U.S. mainland. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After years of weekly meetings with his psychologist, local man Chris Vaughn told reporters today he was excited to only have 2 sessions left before completely resolving all of his emotional issues and never having the need to return to another therapy session again.
When I started therapy, I knew if I could make it through exactly 120 50-minute sessions with Dr. Warner, then all of my issues with depression and crippling anxiety would be gone. Next week we're covering my parents. The week after that we're wrapping up my trust issues, and then I should be good to go.
According to Vaughn, it took 40 sessions alone to fully resolve his feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem resulting from an unhappy childhood. Vaughn's therapist, Dr. Susan Warner, told Onion reporters that she's pleased with her patient's progress and relieved that his long-time emotional and cognitive issues are nearly solved for good.
I told him that getting healthy would take at least 100 hours of therapy, and now he'll never have to see me again. Thank God for that. That guy was a real piece of work.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in line here momentarily where you can join us. The us in studio tonight is me, Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And, well, most of the Caribbean is getting pounded. Florida is about to wind up experiencing what happened to parts of Texas and, of course, the Caribbean. And then there's another hurricane basically right behind Irma that's coming up through the Caribbean right now, Hurricane Jose.
One after the other.
Has that one upgraded? Last I heard, that was like Category 1.
I'm not sure what category it is, but it's still a hurricane.
Yeah.
And even a Category 1 is going to wind up doing some damage, and it appears to be following, a good bit of the same path of Irma.
So I have a question. Okay, this is a federal flood insurance question. So for your, $500 to $2,000 premium, after your house, your beach house, your $5 million beach house gets wiped out by Hurricane Irma, they will come in and pay to have it rebuilt, maybe for the 5th, 6th, 7th, or even the 18th time.
Yep. I doubt they'll have it rebuilt before Hurricane Jose comes over top of Florida.
Well, that's my question. I mean, what if you started building and rebuilding, and then you got hit by Hurricane Jose? Would you get to count it twice?
Considering that this is so close, I don't think anybody's going to start rebuilding before Jose winds up hitting the mainland, if it does.
I think I would. I think I'd start building right away because, heck, here's another one coming in, and they're going to
You've got to wait on the waters to recede before you can start building, Chris.
I'm just saying. I'm pointing out how insane federal flood insurance is.
If you want to ask about, the can you file multiple insurance claims, then you might want to wind up asking Larry Silverstein. He knows a thing or two about that.
There you go.
But apparently, and this was talked about a little bit last night, one of the islands of the two-island nation, Antigua and Barbuda, was practically leveled, that being the island of Barbuda, which is basically a very large village of about 1,700 people, I believe.
I kept thinking it was Bermuda, but I kept looking at the spelling. I'm like, did they get it wrong? I'd never even heard of this island, but it's tragic. I mean, that is a whole...
Did everybody on it die?
They have very few deaths. I think it was one.
Just a handful. I saw something late last night that said one, but there were also some people that had
missing.
I think there were some missing, plus some with severe injuries. So
Gotcha.
I don't have an updated death toll on that.
Yeah, to me, any loss of life is tragic, and it's probably hits even harder in some place that small. Some place that's basically the size of a small town in New Hampshire. And
Heather, you've got a story about something happening in the Virgin Islands. We'll get to that in just a moment. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. Update from CNN just a few minutes ago. They say conditions in the Turks and Caicos deteriorated on Thursday as deadly and massive Hurricane Irma moved in on the islands and continued tracking towards South Florida, where it could slam Miami as soon as this weekend. The National Hurricane Center says it's become more likely that Irma will make landfall in southern Florida as a dangerous major hurricane and bring life-threatening storm surges and wind impacts to much of the state. The Hurricane Center forecast moved the most likely path of the eye of the storm to the west in its 5 p.m. advisory. CNN meteorologist Tom Sater says it looks like it's shifting, even though it may be just 20 miles. It puts Miami right in the worst possible position, and they're showing a estimated tracking here, and it shows it going basically right up the middle of Florida. This thing is, I think, about 400 miles wide. Yep. So as soon as it makes landfall, it's going to wind up covering a large chunk of Florida once the eye hits Miami or Fort Lauderdale or wherever it winds up hitting there in southern Florida. Now, we could keep giving weather forecasts, but of course these things change minute by minute because, heck, even just a couple of days ago, the projected path of Irma, they weren't sure. Well, it could wind up going into the Gulf. It could just go the entire East Coast seaboard up the U.S. all the way to Maine.
Or
we don't really know.
Swing out into the Atlantic. Yeah. And which you wonder why your local forecasts aren't accurate. It's even more difficult when you get to things that are this size.
Right. It's, things that are this size plus things that are spinning,
right,
and trying to calculate, all right, well, how much is it rotating and which way is it going to wind up going? If you've ever played with a top or a gyroscope or something, and you've got that thing going, dreidel, certainly, I'm sure there's several other spinny things that people have played with, but if you've ever played with one of those...
Fidget spinner.
Those aren't really the same thing of where I'm going with this analogy, but if you spin a top and you put it on a table or a flat surface, try to predict the path of where that's going, you can't do it.
Right.
And it's kind of the same way with hurricanes. These things are spinning.
Oh, yeah.
And moving, and you're trying to... Basically, something that I saw earlier said you're trying to pick out a needle in a giant haystack the size of Florida.
Right. And it's not only that, but, and this kind of gets into, predictions of climate change and things like that. The fact that this thing is also being influenced by two large high pressure areas. One, I think, that's sitting up over the United States, and one that's way off in somewhere over the Atlantic. But these things are hundreds, if not thousands of miles from it, yet influence its path.
Right.
That's how complex a system our climate is.
And then you've got the other hurricane, Jose, that's basically right behind Irma.
Churning up a low-pressure area behind it. Right.
If at all, is that affecting... Irma, how much is Jose affecting Irma? How much is Irma affecting Jose? Then there's the one that just formed in the Gulf of Mexico, Katia or Katie. I don't know if Katia was a misspelling that I saw somewhere, but you've got all of these storms. Are they affecting each other?
Shouldn't Darryl be standing up next to a green screen and pointing to things
I know.
as he describes
we should have like a
this?
Free Talk
I think Free Talk Weather is your next calling.
Now, here's something funny. Here's something funny, and we will get to the story about what's going on in the Virgin Islands. When I was in college, I found out that Mississippi State actually had a broadcast meteorology program.
Ooh.
But I didn't want to take a student loan, and I wasn't sure about scholarships, so I didn't do it. But that would have been so cool to, be a broadcast meteorologist and try to figure these things out. So, Heather, what's going on in the Virgin Islands? Apparently, the governor, and yes, the U.S. Virgin Islands, because there's U.S. and British Virgin Islands. The U.S. Virgin Islands, which is a territory of the United States government, they have a governor, and apparently he did something that some people aren't liking.
Well, apparently, if you haven't had a chance to see the article I put on the Free Talk Live page, we're about to go over it, where the NRA...
Not all of the listeners to Free Talk Live are on Facebook.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we're about to go over. If you haven't had a chance to see the link that I had posted yesterday to the page. But the NRA threatens a lawsuit after the U.S. Virgin Islands governor orders weapons seizure.
NRA being the National Riflemen's Association.
Yep. And one thing I'll mention before I go reading this is... somebody had mentioned that this actually happened after Hurricane Katrina. I don't know if you guys could confirm that.
Yes, it did.
I happen to have a story pulled up about that.
That's even mentioned in this article that you posted from Fox News. We'll get into that, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Ooh, get the stinky dog away from me. Bad breath and bad gas. Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
At least $5,000 in vet bill. Creams, antibiotics, sprays.
No results.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids. Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. Dinovite is nutrition.
The shedding is stopped and the itching is stopped.
Her coat is now soft, it's silky, it's healthy and shiny and glossy.
She's got life. She's got energy.
Tons of energy, no more bad smells. Dinovite's the bomb.
Dinovite is the best thing that's ever happened to my dogs, besides me, of course.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl, Heather, and Chris. And we're talking about...
Right, and Chris.
Yeah. I already said that.
I know, but we're just introducing ourselves, Darryl. You threw it all off.
Talking about the hurricanes that are currently pounding the Caribbean. We'll get into the story that Heather has about what happened in the Virgin Islands. But first, I have a question for you. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? If so, join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, can be private, and it's easy. The fees are low and transactions are fast, and in some cases can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the Dash network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why.
Okay, so going back into this article, it says the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands has ordered its National Guard to seize guns, ammunitions, and other weapons from its citizens as the territory prepares for Hurricane Irma to make landfall. Governor Kenneth Mapp, an independent, signed an executive order Tuesday instructing Adjutant General Deborah Howell to take whatever actions she considers necessary to maintain public order. The order, obtained by the Daily Caller, states that Howell is authorized and directed to seize arms, ammunitions, explosives, incendiary material, and any other property that may be required by the military forces for the performance of this emergency mission.
All right, so to start, when people are not prepared for disasters, some people are going to panic. And we know that in society, some people are going to take that opportunity to seize the opportunity to exist in a somewhat lawless environment and do things like loot.
I was going to say, just use the simple word looters. You're talking about looters.
I'm talking about looters. I'm talking about
what any other time of year we would call thieves.
Right. But so you have looting. If this is a prolonged, if this goes on for days and weeks and water isn't restored, the taps don't turn on, people don't have clean drinking water, people panic. And when that happens, that's exactly the time you need to be able to protect yourself.
Right. And not only that, but I'm reading here the words that are being used: arms, ammunition, explosives, incendiary materials, and any other property that may be required by the military forces for the performance of this emergency mission. So
give your guns to government.
Well, not only that, arms also means knives, swords, incendiary material, anything that can be used to start a fire to keep you warm if the weather winds up getting cold.
Right. So before we go too far down that rat hole, I think what we're really talking about here is guns for the most part, or if anybody had real explosives. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to go door to door seizing books of matches.
9-volt batteries and steel wool.
Right.
You can start a fire with it.
Right.
You've got any dry ice in a 2-liter bottle, that'll blow up.
Well, your point being is it does.
Legal there?
I have
They're
no idea.
They're incendiary.
Yeah,
they're explosives.
I have no idea what the laws would be on fireworks in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
The point that I'm trying to make here is the wording is so broad. They're not just talking about guns.
True.
They're talking about basically anything that the military forces want to seize and claim, well, it was required. We had to take all of the 2x4s because somebody could make a weapon out of it.
Right. And we needed 2x4s. That's an excellent point, Darryl, that this is so broad that they can basically just seize all your property.
Yeah, like what? Show up at a house and like demand a walk through your house, go through your cabinets, your drawers. This is just going to be like a full-blown house search without a warrant.
We'll take
two things. That's basically what they did in New Orleans after Katrina.
Yes.
And it's also what was done in, Watertown after the Boston bombing?
Yeah.
Where they went door to door, told people, you go wait in the lawn, we're going through your house.
Right. Now, they didn't go in specifically in Boston to seize, if I recall.
Yeah, it wasn't Boston. It was a neighboring town.
Well, that's what I mean. Do you know what I mean? They weren't really going in to seize, but they were searching without warrants.
They weren't going in to seize, but I guarantee you they did seize.
I don't doubt that. I've never seen an article that talked about that. But go ahead.
So wait, with the Hurricane Katrina, though, they did the whole going house to house after the hurricane?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
because nobody could get out during the hurricane. But I even have friends in New Orleans who got the knock on the door saying, we're the police. If you have any guns, we need them right now. And my friends were smart enough to say, nope, no guns here.
Right. And part of the thing of, people couldn't get out is the mayor had told people, you don't need to evacuate.
Right.
And then there were some of the roads that were blocked down to where people that tried to leave couldn't.
Yep.
And then because those roads were blocked off, aid that was trying to come into the city couldn't.
Yep.
There were a lot of problems in New Orleans.
Yep.
A lot of them. Let's continue with this article.
So the National Rifle Association announced its strong opposition to MAP's order in a press release Tuesday. People need the ability to protect themselves during times of natural disaster, Chris Cox, executive director of the NRA's Institute for Legislative Action, said. This dangerous order violates the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens and puts their lives at risk.
It's interesting because we've talked about this before. Territories of the United States not always possess all the same constitutional rights that supposedly we are feature the protection of from the Constitution here in this country.
I thought and not to get off into some sort of constitutional debate or anything, but my understanding was that because territories are basically governed by the District of Criminals, that all of the rights in the Constitution, or that are specified in the Constitution, supposedly apply to the people of the territories.
No, we've had this. I'm gonna have to look.
And
this up.
I know there's this weird sort of two-tier citizen. Actually, it's a three-tier citizen sort of thing, because the people in American Samoa aren't even considered American citizens. They're just American nationals, which puts them front of the line if they want to immigrate into the United States.
Right.
They get, if they get a passport from the U.S. government, the passport says American national, not a citizen. And that apparently affects visas and other kinds of things.
Right. They can serve in the military, but they cannot vote for president, for example.
Correct. Well, technically, anybody anywhere in the world could join the United States military. It would then just, help them qualify for citizenship after they serve, but doesn't protect them from deportation. And I've seen stories of things of that sort. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey, little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still trying to figure out exactly which rights do and do not apply in the territories. And I pulled something up from the Constitution Center that says that for more than a century, the U.S. Supreme Court has been attempting to sort out what parts of the Constitution apply in the territories. There's a set of rulings called the Insular Cases, where the court has ruled that residents of territories beyond the U.S. mainland do not enjoy all of the rights guaranteed by the Constitution, but they could expect to be protected by the most fundamental guarantees.
Could be.
Could
Maybe.
be.
Might.
Maybe. You might expect to possibly, maybe, and again, the word guarantee here, and I realize this is from the Constitution Center, and so they're going to say, well, when, Article or Amendment 1 says Congress shall make no law, da-da-da-da-da, then, that's guarantee. Well, no, it's not a guarantee. It's just an acknowledgement of a right that exists inherently. And when I say that, there's some people, well, you try to free speech in Korea. Well, just
right.
Because I say that it's an inherent right doesn't mean that every government around the world recognizes the right.
Sure.
It's just saying that, you inherently have that right. I have no legitimate right to come to your house and prevent you from saying stuff.
Right.
That's what free speech means. The reason we're trying to figure out what rights do and don't apply in territories is because the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands a couple days ago signed an executive order that applies to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where he has authorized, the National Guard, I believe, to wind up seizing all arms, ammunition, explosives, incendiary materials, and any other property that may be required by the military forces for the performance of this emergency mission.
Mm-hmm.
The NRA has filed a suit, and I don't know if we have any kind of update on that suit, but Heather, you've got more to this article from Fox.
Yep, it says in 2005, New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin signed a similar order, thank you, Darryl, allowing seizure of guns, assault rifles, and other weapons ahead of a forced evacuation from those still living in areas affected by Hurricane Katrina. The NRA filed a lawsuit after Katrina, claiming New Orleans violated gun owners' constitutional right to bear arms and left them at the mercy of roving gangs, home invaders, and other criminals after the hurricane.
But the roving gang, home invaders, and other criminals were the people that Ray Nagin authorized to go seize the weapons.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Congress later passed the 2006 Disaster Recovery Personal Protection Act, which was meant to prohibit future confiscation of weapons during an emergency. That's actually a good thing that they passed.
Well, it's a good name. I'm looking up the actual text of the law so I can find out if it's actually a good law. If it actually does anything.
The way with a lot of laws, especially at the federal level, it does the exact opposite of what they say. So
or what they sound like.
If Congress were to pass the Everybody Gets a Puppy Act, it would have nothing to do with everybody getting a puppy.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. It did actually get passed, meaning the Disaster Recovery Personal Protection Act of 2006. It became the Vitter Amendment in the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Act of 2007. So I'm going to look at the text and see if it actually has any teeth.
And find out if, looking at the text might not even tell you anything. It might just say, the secretary of some sort gets to write a policy.
I'll finish up the last two paragraphs here. It says, when 911 is non-existent and law enforcement personnel are overwhelmed with search and rescue missions and other emergency duties, law-abiding American citizens must be able to protect their families and loved ones, Cox continued.
Cox being the NRA's Institute for Legislative Action Executive Director.
Thank you. The NRA is prepared to pursue legal action to halt Governor Mapp's dangerous and unconstitutional order. A state of emergency has been declared in the Virgin Islands, where winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour with gusts of up to 60 miles per hour and 4 to 10 inches of rain are expected from now. Category 5 Hurricane Irma.
And again, this article from 2 days ago, so the wind speeds here not necessarily accurate for what it currently is or what actually wound up hitting the Virgin Islands.
All right, so I did pull up at least the text of the proposed bill, and I don't know if this is actually what went through, but Section 706, Firearms Policy, A, prohibition or confiscation of firearms. No officer or employee of the United States, including any member of the uniformed services or person operating under, pursuant, or color of federal law, or receiving federal funds or under control of any federal official or providing services to such official, et cetera, shall temporarily or permanently seize or authorize seizure of any firearm, the possession of which is not prohibited under federal, state, or local law. Require registration of any firearm for which registration is not required. 3, prohibit possession of any firearm or promulgate any rule, regulation, or orders prohibiting possession of any firearm.
So it sounds to me,
like a good
without you continuing on, and I'm guessing there's more wording here.
There's lots. I just want to give that summary.
Sounds to me that if there's a state law that says, we can seize for any kind of reason, then this does not apply.
The challenge would be is any organization that receives federal funding.
Right, but it said unless state law. So it sounds like there's some kind of override.
It doesn't say there is no override for state law.
Isn't this whole reason this was passed was to override state law?
Yeah. Yeah. In a good way.
Ray Nagin's order was not state law. That was
Ray Nagin,
a mayor making some kind of declaration.
Right.
So there was no state law that was being superseded by this.
Yeah. But again, what you would challenge this on, any person operating pursuant or to or under color of federal law or receiving federal funds or under control of a federal official, That's the catch that you would use to fight this in court after they've already taken your guns.
Now, I have a question here.
And then there would probably wind up being a federal judge that says, you don't have standing.
Right. And you can spend $20,000 to fight this case halfway through over a $600, rifle.
Right.
Now, the fact that we have constitutional rights, right? This is kind of probably what prompted this act, was this mayor's decision on a local level, right? Prompted like a federal agency to step in, and then Congress to pass this law. So in a way, is having a U.S. Constitution kind of like validating the legitimacy of the federal government?
Because the U.S. Constitution created the federal government.
I mean, but
right.
But that's
so
what
by
I'm
having a
saying.
Constitution that created a federal government, you're legitimizing the federal government, Chris.
Right.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like the United States federal government by adopting.
I prefer the phrase "these United States."
By breathing air, which basically winds up
but when you use
fueling
that term,
everything. You're
united, right? Then you have this. Now you have like the legislative body that's going to oversee all of the.
Here is a distinction.
Unity.
So now we do refer to it. Most people refer to it as the United States of America.
Right.
In previous generations and during the founding, it was often referred to as these United States.
Right.
Because the states were recognized as separate states, nation states. They were
sovereign.
Sovereign. A good word. Thank you. People have forgotten that word, Darryl.
Most state constitutions include that word somewhere in the beginning of their constitution.
Right. But again, when we allowed this centralization of power to occur in D.C., then people feel that they can do whatever kind of act like this guy's doing or they did in Katrina. And hey, the feds will back it up.
855-450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey, little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Clint Webb, and I'm running for Senate. I have a short cropped haircut, a pretty enough yet accessible looking wife, and a newborn baby that I've dressed in a suit to prove to you that I mean business. For the last 15 years, I've lived my life in such a bland, uncontroversial, and repressed manner that it's almost unnatural. Why? Because I've been preparing to be a representative since I was a child. Most well-adjusted, sane men would be hesitant to take a job where their decisions would so drastically affect the lives of so many. But not me. I possess a sort of sociopathic narcissism that makes me think that I should be in charge of everyone. But all of that needs to start here at home. in this beautiful state that I've grown to love since I moved here 18 months ago. Together, we can piggyback some of our state's legitimate needs onto my unquenchable lust for self-glorification. And that's a promise.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And now you can mine Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com. Forget about the cost, the constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance. Make Bitcoin every day like Mark and Ian do. Pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website is easy to use, and you can calculate what you might expect to get as a return on investment on the website at pool.bitcoin.com. Not just that, but you also help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. You're not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. You're doing activism while you sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com. Now, Chris, you've actually got some news here. Apparently, the federal government, or at least the federal Congress, is considering possibly doing something to maybe not consider small purchases of things with Bitcoin to fall under capital gains. Now, let me let me explain exactly what I mean before we delve into this article that you have from Vice.
Go ahead.
So, a couple of years ago, the IRS, also known as the Internal Theft Service, they determined that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were commodities like gold, silver, barter, soybeans, pork bellies.
Pork bellies. That's a good
one.
one.
To where if you do any kind of transaction using a commodity, then at the end of the year, when you file your theft papers, you need to calculate whether you had a capital gain or a capital loss and adjust your income accordingly.
Yes.
And that means if you use Bitcoin to go down to the corner store and buy a cup of coffee, then the store that you buy the coffee from has to calculate whether or not they had a capital gain or a capital loss on that. Same thing if you go in with, say, a silver dime, a pre-1965 silver dime, and you say, I would like to give you this silver dime for that cup of coffee. And they say, okay, if the value of silver goes up.
Unless you used it as actual currency.
If you use the silver dime as 10 cents.
Right, no problem.
Sure, but if you use it based on the spot price of silver.
Right, this dime is worth $2, so I want $2 worth of stuff for the silver quantity that's in this old dime. Now we're talking commodities.
Correct. So, the feds, specifically at the IRS, the Institute of Theft, they want you to calculate capital gains, capital loss on all things done with commodities.
You bet. But it's a little bit more insidious than that. You described that from the point of view of the retailer, the person selling goods. But you, Darryl, because you have bought Bitcoin and then you have exchanged allegedly, and then you have allegedly bought a cup of coffee with Bitcoin.
I've never purchased coffee ever.
Okay, well, then you're safe. But in this example, both sides have to report. I have
purchased pork and curd fries and a red Gatorade with Bitcoin.
Well, there you go. But both sides have to do all this stupid reporting to the IRS to declare whether they had a capital gains. And
Correct.
Normally I don't read the headlines, but the byline's too good not to read. So the headline of this comes to us from Motherboard. Lawmakers introduce bill that will let you buy coffee with Bitcoins without paying capital gains taxes.
Now,
and then the byline is this, because you're totally doing that, right?
So I love that subheader, and something else that I know everybody is doing. Everybody that listens to me is totally doing this. They're following the instructions of line 21 of the IRS 1040 form that I believe the official name for the line is miscellaneous income. But in the instructions, and amongst a myriad of other things, they also include income from illegal activities. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. But what most people think of is, like theft or selling drugs, which, both of those illegal in most places.
Right.
The selling of drugs. Some places, if you consider cannabis a drug, and federal government does, they want you to include that. Now, putting any number on line 21 does not necessarily mean that you had income from illegal activities, because again, miscellaneous income could be barter. It could be you worked under the table for somebody. You mowed somebody's grass and they gave you $100.
Right.
That's miscellaneous income.
It's absurdity. It's ridiculous. To me, it's unconstitutional.
So let's delve into this article again from Vice about the legislation. And right now, just want to be very clear. This is pending legislation that would exempt cryptocurrencies from capital gain taxes.
We'll get into that. And then that's not entirely true, but we'll get into this.
Cryptocurrencies for small purchases.
We'll get into it. Despite its sky-high value, there are many barriers to using Bitcoin for normal things like buying a cup of coffee or groceries. Some of these obstacles are technical and some social, but a big one has always been the question of taxes.
I don't think I have ever asked the question of, what about taxes?
Okay.
When I'm buying a hamburger or pork and curd fries or a pizza or a couple jars of honey.
Right.
All things that I buy on regular occasions with Bitcoin.
Right. Right now, every single Bitcoin transaction in the U.S., no matter how small, must be recorded and later reported to the government in order to pay a capital gains tax.
Or capital loss.
Wait, every Bitcoin transaction?
Yes.
Every transaction of any commodity.
Yep.
The IRS wants you to keep a record of and calculate a capital gain or capital loss.
And I'll explain that. This tax is normally incurred when selling property, stocks, or precious metals, not domestic currency. The Cryptocurrency Tax Fairness Act of 2017, introduced Thursday by Democratic Representative Jared Polis and Republican Representative David Schweikert, would remove this requirement for any Bitcoin transaction under $600.
Ooh, this is good news here, I think.
If passed, this law would mean that average folks can use Bitcoin to pay for most things without keeping track of every single purchase and later having to pay capital gains tax on their cryptocurrency. Right now, under the law, you have to keep track of every transaction, whether it's for a coffee here or an MP3 player there. Jerry Brito, executive director of the Coin Center, which consulted on the bill, told me over the phone. Because the IRS...
Not you, the author of this article.
Quote, because the IRS treats Bitcoin as property for tax purposes, you owe capital gains tax whenever you dispose of Bitcoin, whether that's selling 10,000 Bitcoins or buying a cup of coffee, unquote.
So you would owe taxes for buying a cup of coffee with Bitcoin?
If you had capital gain, so if you buy Bitcoin, or if someone gives you some Bitcoin, and you always look at your phone and say, that $10 worth of Bitcoin that somebody gave me a couple years ago is now worth, fill in the blank amount.
Right. Yeah.
Once you dispose of that Bitcoin, you've had a capital gain because it has gone up in value. The IRS wants you to calculate that and include that $4 worth of capital gain on your tax returns.
Because it went up in value.
It went up in value.
And when you bought that cup of coffee, you bought that burger at Local Burger, you realized a capital gain.
Does your wallet tell you how much you've gained?
Some
do, some don't.
Might have something like that.
But that's another thing that, it's completely onerous for the average person, because the average person that's using Bitcoin, they don't have a spreadsheet saying, I bought Bitcoin at X on this day at this time, and now it's worth Y, so X minus Y.
And I bought the pizza, and that was $29.99 worth of Bitcoin.
So, wait. So they want to tax you on your gains. What about years you lose?
Then you could take that
would be
as
a capital loss, which is a deduction.
Yeah.
Same thing if you buy 5 ounces of silver on January 1st and you sell them on December 31st, you calculate whether you had a capital gain or capital loss, and everybody totally does that all the time.
Let's get back to the story. The issue of Bitcoin and taxes has been a thorny one to date. It's currently unclear, first of all, how many people are actually following the existing rules. Secondly,
can probably count them on one hand.
Secondly, the government has arguably taken a rather heavy-handed approach enforcing them.
We'll get into some of the heavy-handedness that they've gotten into, plus your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
I wish that we would have started the Dynovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,340 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,623. Antiwar.com reports 1 week after the Pentagon announced an escalation of the Afghan war of an unspecified size, anonymous U.S. officials are saying that the deployment will be about 3,500, bringing the total size of U.S. forces in the country to 14,500. The Pentagon would officially neither confirm nor deny the figure, saying that they will not comment in any way on the amount until there's an official announcement. This figure is roughly in line with expectations of the size of the deployment. This is, however, expected to be only the first deployment in a much broader open escalation announced by President Trump last month. It's not clear that subsequent deployments will be announced at all, with or without numbers. President Trump has been keen to keep the deployment sizes secret, saying the enemy must never know, while Pentagon officials have said that they favor more transparency, but so far have not offered such transparency in any real way. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports federal officials will not fine United Airlines over an incident in April in which a passenger was forcibly removed from his seat after the airline oversold the flight. The Department of Transportation conducted an investigation into the incident, which was caught on video, prompting a public relations problem for United Airlines, as well as a lawsuit from the passenger, David Dow, who settled with the airline for an undisclosed amount. Despite the backlash, the DOT told United Airlines it found no reason to issue a fine, according to a letter from May and obtained by passenger advocacy group Flyers Rights through a Freedom of Information Act request. In the letter, Blaine Workey, the Assistant General Counsel for the DOT, said the agency reviewed the protocol United Airlines followed and found minor discrepancies with how it handled an overbooked situation. As for how Dow was treated, the physical aspect of the removal was not mentioned. Workey also said there is insufficient evidence in the record to find that United involuntarily bumped Dr. Dow without offering them the opportunity to continue separately on Flight 3411. He added, therefore, we conclude that enforcement action is not warranted in this matter. Paul Hudson, president of Flyers Rights, disagreed with the DOT's decision and said Dow's removal was egregious in every sense of the word. Hudson also added for the Department of Transportation to conclude that United Airlines' conduct did not warrant an enforcement action is a dereliction of duty. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Hurricane Irma, one of the most powerful Atlantic storms in a century, howled past Puerto Rico on Wednesday after thrashing several smaller Caribbean islands with roof-ripping winds, drenching rain, and pounding surf on a collision course with Florida. At least 4 people were reported killed on 4 different islands by Irma, which weather forecasters have described as a potentially catastrophic Category 5 storm, the highest classification for hurricanes. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said the dual-island nation of Antigua and Barbuda was especially hard hit. The northernmost island, Barbuda, home to roughly 1,800 people, was totally demolished with 90% of dwellings there leveled. Irma, with top sustaining winds of 185 miles per hour, is on track to reach Florida this weekend, becoming the second major hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland in as many weeks. While Irma's intensity could fluctuate and its precise course remains uncertain, the storm was expected to remain at least a Category 4 storm before arriving in Florida. 2 other hurricanes formed on Wednesday. Katia in the Gulf of Mexico posed no threat to the United States, according to U.S. forecasters, but Hurricane Jose in the open Atlantic about 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles Islands could also threaten the U.S. mainland. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
NASA's recent discovery of water on Mercury has led to speculation among scientists that the planet could potentially sustain an intergalactic space prison housing the universe's worst criminals. Scientists believe that organic compounds found on the planet's surface could be useful for creating an off-world space Australia, where strength is the only law. However, they caution it is too early to say whether or not fights among the space jail's prisoners would be broadcast here on Earth for the entertainment of wealthy gamblers. But NASA's lead researchers do say that Mercury's ability to support human life raises important questions about who the prison guards would be.
Perhaps the guards themselves would be space mercenaries, or maybe we'd just use robots.
The robots would have guns for hands.
Well, obviously.
Critics inside NASA caution against funneling too many resources into the Mercury project when it would be so much cooler to build a prison on the moon ruled by clones of the prisoners themselves. Researchers encourage the public to read their findings, which have been released in the form of a graphic novel titled The Mercury Cipher.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off our number 2 in studio tonight. It's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we're talking about the proposed legislation introduced by Representative Jared Polis and Representative David Schweikert. Polis, I believe, from Colorado, Schweikert from Arizona. The legislation is called the Cryptocurrency Tax Fairness Act of 2017.
Taxes aren't fair.
Correct. And whenever I see any kind of legislation that has the word fairness in the title, I get a little wary.
Well, my experience
there was the thing a couple of years ago, the Marketplace Fairness Act, that would have wound up imposing sales tax on everything sold via the internet if sold into a jurisdiction that has a sales tax, which would have then meant that every online retailer would have to comply with up to 9,600 different taxing jurisdictions.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And some of these, there might be a municipal tax plus a state tax plus a county tax, and you've got to figure out all of them. And how often do you file? Does LA County require you to file monthly or quarterly? Does Los Angeles City require monthly, quarterly? Does it require yearly? Because some places do require monthly, some require quarterly, some require yearly. And others, you only have to file if the amount of tax is over a certain threshold.
Right. And the resolution of that one was to limit it to companies of a certain size.
Well, it still never wound up going through Congress.
No, but there is a smaller, the version that ended up being passed is honored by companies like Amazon and stuff like that.
Well, no, what Amazon, and there's still not a federal law on that.
I thought there was.
There's not, but there are state laws.
Right.
And so what Amazon has done is they are complying if they have a distribution center in a state with a sales tax,
right?
And they sell something.
So they have a physical presence in that state and they sell, that's what they're doing. Okay.
Right. So
I thought something
if you live in Massachusetts and you purchase something from Amazon and it's shipped from the Amazon distribution center in Massachusetts, then they collect tax. Yet another reason to live in New Hampshire where we have no sales tax, so you don't have to worry.
Go ahead. Collect the New Hampshire state sales tax on all your purchases.
We don't 0%. Now, if you have prepared meals, then there's a 9%, but technically not a sales tax.
All right.
But again, all of that said to say I'm kind of wary of any legislation with the word fairness.
Well, at the federal level, my advice to people is read the title of a bill and assume that whatever it actually does is the opposite of what it says. And that's
everybody gets a puppy act.
Right. Means that no one gets a puppy.
Correct.
That's
and
usually
puppies
what
are now abolished and prohibited.
Right. Unless you file the appropriate.
Unless you jump through hoops and hurdles that only Bill Gates can wind up affording.
Or a very dexterous puppy could jump through. Okay, so back to this article, and basically what it says is The proposed
what does
legislation,
this Cryptocurrency Tax Fairness Act
basically it says
to do?
it removes the requirement for any Bitcoin transaction under $600 to be reported as capital gains or capital losses when you file your taxes. So that's kind of a good thing.
Those transactions that I've done purchasing pork and curd fries and a Gatorade, possibly a milkshake, possibly a grass-fed hamburger.
Sure.
Those are all less than $600.
Right. You would not
tax on that.
Right.
But
so you don't need to keep your spreadsheet, Darryl, of when you purchased Bitcoin and how much you bought that grass-fed burger for, you can calculate your capital gains.
I will go ahead and delete that non-existent spreadsheet as soon as I wind up getting done.
I've already deleted my non-existent spreadsheet.
But now, here in Keene, New Hampshire, where we're broadcasting from, there's a car repair guy.
Sure.
So some of those car repairs definitely going to be over $600. So that would still wind up falling under this capital gain, capital loss.
Right. If this is actually written the way it says it is, then this is one of those things I consider a good start.
Yes.
But you haven't gone far enough. And the last thing they talked about where we left off in the story was how thorny an issue this has been, and that the government has taken a pretty heavy-handed approach in enforcing that. So an example is this last November, the IRS ordered popular Bitcoin exchange Coinbase to reveal the identities of all its customers over a 3-year period, potentially millions of people, just to see if they've been paying their taxes.
Now, something that this article does not mention is that Coinbase challenged that warrant.
Correct.
And I believe they wound up actually getting a favorable ruling on that.
They did. It was reduced in scope, but I haven't read exactly what scope it was reduced to. So to me, if you're going to go to a company like Coinbase and say, we think some people here are not paying your taxes, Coinbase should rightfully say, if they intend to follow the law, and they're in a regulated industry, so they really have to, I would say no problem. Give us a warrant for those specific individuals that you believe are not paying their taxes.
And I think that's basically what Coinbase wound up saying in a legal filing.
That's what they did, and they said that, and it went back to the courts, and the courts reduced it. But basically, when the IRS does something like that, it's simply a fishing expedition. It's to gather more information on you because you made some insignificant Coinbase purchase that will allow the IRS to find one thing wrong with your taxes. Oh, look, he bought $40 worth of Coinbase this week back in 2013, and he's never reported any taxes on it. Therefore, we're going to audit him. We're going to audit everything about
I don't get how you can tax something that's like...
Again,
that's like
the IRS... in the instructions for, and I believe it's line 21 of the 1040, the instructions say they want you to include income from illegal activities. They want to tax everything. They want to tax barter. If I make a sandwich and you make a bracelet and I say, hey, Heather, I'll trade you this sandwich for that bracelet. At the end of the year, we have to figure out whether we had a capital gain or capital loss on that barter transaction.
Isn't value subjective,
shouldn't she be making the sandwich?
I'm a better cook.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well,
usually it's the woman who makes the sandwich.
Then it becomes like, is my bracelet worth more than his sandwich? Even just because it was an equal trade for him and I.
Even though both parties were satisfied with the trade.
Correct.
Yeah.
You were happy to get Darryl's bracelet, and you were happy to get her sandwich.
No, he got my bracelet.
Yeah, I know, but it's the women who make the sandwiches. I'm just being crude and sexist here. All right,
Chris is trying to make everybody fit inside of his
world.
Culture justice warrior gender roles.
Exactly. So I'm going to continue here.
Now, the way you make gender roles really, really good is you butter them before you put them in the oven.
I just thought of a really horrible joke that a former state rep made, and I'm not going to say it. Individuals all over the world, quote, individuals all over the world are starting to use cryptocurrencies for small everyday transactions. Yet here in the States, we have fallen behind in make cryptocurrency use more of a challenge than it needs to be, unquote, said Congressman Schweikert in a statement. Quote, with this simple legislative change, anyone can make digital payments to buy a newspaper or a bike without worrying about tax code challenges, unquote. Well, I would say that depends on what bike you're buying, because those things can definitely be over $600. If the act is passed, it will remove a big barrier to using Bitcoin in the real world. However, Brito said it's not the only thing that needs to change before the cryptocurrency can be more than a speculative asset or financial tool. Quote, there are a lot of hurdles before we see widespread use of Bitcoin, unquote, he said.
Brito being Jerry Brito, the executive director of Coin Center.
Thank you. Some of them have to do with the technology advancing so it can handle more transactions, and some of them have to do it with more usability. But one of those things has been the issue of tax. Bitcoin is the one payment system where I have to keep track of capital gains on every transaction. That creates friction, and this law would remove that friction.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. Should Bitcoin be taxed? If so, how? If not, well, that's a short call. 855-450 free.
Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, hey, try this? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And I've got a very important question for you. Are you eating 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? Only about 10% of people are. And here's more bad news. A preponderance of research is showing that you really need 10 servings a day. That's nearly a gallon of fruits and veggies in its raw form every day. And only about 1% of the population does that. What's the prize for accomplishing this feat? Protection against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancer, plus enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. Worthy goals, right? Well, I'm going to tell you that I've been doing this, and Chris, you know for a fact that I absolutely hate vegetables.
It is a fact.
But
I've been getting
my servings of fruits and veggies, and I'm kind of cheating. I put fruit and veggie total in my smoothies every morning. Fruit and veggie total made from the same makers that do Whole Food Multi-Complete, and you can do it too. Join me in this worthy goal to eat better, lose weight, live longer, and feel better. Go to simplifymysupplements.com and get yourself some fruit and veggie total. Use coupon code FTL to save 10%, and they'll even give you a free shaker bottle. Simplifymysupplements.com, code FTL, and they accept Bitcoin. Now, what you have to do is send them a message using the contact form built into the page. But still, just include that code FTL in that message. Get that 10% off of fruit and veggie total. SimplifyMySupplements.com. Now, changing gears, we had been talking about the Bitcoin, specifically because there's pending legislation at the federal level that would remove the requirement for calculating capital gains, capital losses from smaller purchases using cryptocurrency, specifically things under $600. And again, it's pending legislation, doesn't necessarily mean that it will ever come up for a vote or get passed.
Right.
But we can hope, and while certainly not the best thing that could happen, it's certainly a good step forward.
It is a good step, and that's what I'll say. I just hope that people recognize that some parts of our tax code are so onerous and so disruptive to commerce. I mean, to believe that anybody would actually keep track of at what cost I purchased Bitcoin and at what the Bitcoin price was when I bought this hamburger, so I can calculate a capital gains to pay a tax is absurd.
If all of your transactions are going through an exchange wallet, then they will keep those records for you.
Right. But as we talked about before, it's not a good thing to always keep your money in an exchange wallet. You're trusting somebody else to keep track of money that you own. So if that exchange gets hacked by hackers or has some internal fraud or something like that, you can lose your money. And it's better to keep your Bitcoin in a wallet that you control.
Right. So let's just suppose that you buy Bitcoin using an exchange and then you transfer it to a wallet that's on your phone or on your laptop or PC or whatever.
Like the Bitcoin.com wallet or Airbits or any of them.
Jax.
Another good wallet. Sure.
Jax, the official wallet of freetalklive.com. So if you wind up, let's say you use Coinbase to make those purchases, and they keep the records for you in case you want to calculate that capital gain, capital loss.
Ooh, I'm just itching to do that, Darryl.
But
go ahead.
You transfer the Bitcoin after you purchase. You transfer it to that Jaxx wallet.
Right.
Well, the Jaxx wallet, certainly, if you use the same wallet address, you can look on the blockchain to see when you made a transaction, but that's not going to tell you what the cost of Bitcoin was when you made the transaction.
Right.
It's just going to say you made a transaction on August 17th.
Right.
It's not going to tell you, oh, yes, you made a transaction and you bought a hamburger.
Now, I will say this. Most wallets out there now at least give you like a memo field. Like when you make a purchase, you can write something in. Some of them have categories.
Oh, yeah, and I totally list exactly what I purchase.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't, and I wouldn't for most purchases, but for people that are buying for business, why not use Bitcoin to save 20% on everything you're buying at Amazon, for example?
Yep,
people use Amazon.com.
Purse.com.
Right. If you're using Amazon for your business purchases, for your paper towels and your toilet paper, why wouldn't you?
I just bought a crepe maker. I just bought a crepe maker from Amazon
with Bitcoin
and saved 19%.
I'm still stuck on the part where Darryl bought a crepe maker. In what planet are we living?
I don't know how to cook a crepe.
I do what?
I don't know how to use it, but I bought it.
Why?
Because...
Talk about going down the rabbit hole. I'm just going to say, why did you buy a crepe maker?
Because one of the people that lives here in the studio knows how to make crepes. And he's going to make crepes.
For you.
For me, himself, whomever.
Jeez.
But
you just
I bought
never
the
know
crepe
what we're
maker.
going to walk into.
Yeah,
save
19%. Got it for like $20.
All right. I look forward to crepes. What can I say?
Yeah. Lobster. Well, see, we had a Bitcoin meetup a couple days ago at a frozen yogurt place that also sells crepes. And I noticed several of the people that were there were eating crepes. And I was like, I've never had one of these really thin pancakes. And he was like, it's called a crepe. And I was like, I know. But if you've ever seen the movie Talladega Nights, there's the scene where Sacha Baron Cohen's character has Will Ferrell's character in some kind of arm lock. And he's like, say I like crepes or I will break your arm. And he's like, I don't know what a crepe is. It's like a really thin pancake. And he's like, oh, I like pancakes, but I'm not going to say it. Go ahead and break my arm. So because of that movie, I just refer to crepes as really thin pancakes.
Okay. Well, it's a fairly decent description. I'll go with that.
So he said, these things are amazing. You can put anything in here. You can make crepes with meat. And I was like, whoa, what? You can put meat inside a crepe?
You can technically put anything inside of almost anything, but... but go ahead.
True, and we're not going to go there. And so later that
you guys
day,
are
I was
being
like,
really creepy.
So,
crepey.
Do you have a crepe? Can you make some crepes? And he says, I don't have my crepe pan. It's back in New York. And I was like, well, let me look on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Amazon and see what I can find. And, if I find one for a good price. And he was like, oh, they're super expensive. And I found one for like $30, got it 19% off. So I paid somewhere around $20. And yeah, so in a few days, I'm going to have some crepes with lobster.
So for those of you listening at home, this is what we refer to as a tangent. Heather, at this point, can you remember exactly what we were even talking about before we got to crepe?
Capital gains and capital loss on Bitcoin
makes perfect sense then. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you could put Bitcoin in crepes. A Bitcoin
exactly.
Crepe,
Or Bitcoin,
put
do physical, a little, the little Bitcoin symbol, like a stamp
on it. Physical
Bitcoin.
Make cookies. Put the Bitcoin logo on the cookie.
And then put that in a crepe.
This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. What did President Trump do a couple days ago?
Not eat crepes.
With immigrants. 855-450 free.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. Say I like crepes. Because, well, I've never actually had a crepe, but I've got a crepe maker now. And, we talked all about it. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And changing gears here completely. Story from Reuters from a couple days ago. President Donald Trump on Tuesday scrapped an Obama-era program that protects from deportation those immigrants who were brought illegally into the United States as children, which delayed implementation until, or rather, Trump is delaying implementation until March of his rescinding of the Obama directive. And he's given Congress 6 months to decide the fate of nearly 800,000 people as the so-called dreamers, and that term came from an early version of what became the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. There was legislation, the DREAM Act, and I forget exactly what DREAM was an acronym for, but the people that are affected are called Dreamers. The article, again, says the so-called Dreamers who have benefited from the 5-year-old program were plunged into uncertainty. Business and religious leaders, mayors, governors, lawmakers, unions, civil liberties advocates, and former President Barack Obama all condemned Trump's move.
And because I had to look that up because I forgot about the DREAM was an acronym for Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act. DREAM.
Right. So again, this applies, and until March, still applies to anyone who, as a minor, that being under the age of 18, came into the United States with their parents in violation of any federal immigration law. The minors would not be punished for something that their parents did. Now, the Trump administration wants to change that. And the action was not actually announced by Trump, but rather by Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, who called the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program, an unconstitutional overreach by Obama. Sessions said there will be an orderly, lawful wind down.
Wait, so right
That's
now,
interesting.
So now what would they do? They would keep the kids here in the United States and get rid of the parents in a situation like that?
Probably, if the parents were identified as people that entered the United States in violation of federal immigration law, then they would be subject to deportation. But anyone who arrived as a minor and met certain criteria, and I don't have those criteria in front of me, would not be subject
and would then
to
be put
deportation.
into foster care and subject to exploitation and child abuse. And
Not necessarily. So if, say, somebody arrived 7 years ago at the age of 12, they're now an adult, they would not be put in foster care.
Okay, but what if they were, the family got here and they had kids?
Again, I don't have the wording of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals in front of me, so I don't know if I can answer your question.
That makes me wonder, because I remember Obama, when he was president, saying that he had all these immigrant children that just mysteriously crossed the border with no parents, and was like, where do we put them all? And there was, a meeting right there in Bourne, Massachusetts, to whether or not they should put some of them on Joint Base Cape Cod.
Right.
And I ended up going to that town hall meeting, and nobody said, well, where's all the parents for these kids? All of a sudden, magically, there were 200,000 kids. But it kind of makes sense now that we're talking about this bill that maybe the parents were all sent back.
Well, there were some really weird things going on.
There's a lot of weird things. And I remember there were some child trafficking claims and all of this other stuff.
But on the border, suddenly, and this is during the Obama administration, suddenly there were a couple border crossings that were filled with thousands and thousands of children by themselves.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't make any sense.
So who
as
knows?
a parent.
Unless the parents were like, okay, you guys just go right up to the border, go through the checkpoint while we swim the river or whatever.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and then some of the articles would be like, the parents would give their kids to the coyotes or whatever they call the people that sneak them across the border. But I'm like, if you're a parent, right, and you go as far as the border, and if a coyote can get your kid in, right, they can get you in. So how are you going to have 200,000 kids? That's at least 400,000 parents.
Right.
Like, where I highly, highly doubt all of these parents just handed their kids off voluntarily.
And like I said, the thing always, it just sounded something's really weird here and something's going on. And there were accusations from the right that it was this ploy to make immigration more personalized, and that the Obama administration was working with Mexico and working with others to make this look like there was this big flood of children. Now, actually, the DREAM Act never passed.
Correct.
The DREAM Act never passed, but what Obama did was he just stated that we are going to come up with DACA, which is the Deferred Actions for childhood arrivals,
which is
on his own.
perfectly within his purview.
See, now that's the part that I can't say for sure.
The
because
United States Constitution
Right.
says that the president has the ability to issue pardons and delay penalties.
Okay.
He was delaying a penalty. So it's perfectly within the purview of the president of the United States to say people that violate this particular thing will not be incarcerated or punished.
Right. So I guess
it's basically a pardon.
Yeah, you would have to call it a pardon. It's not a delay. So that's the part that I think conservatives really had an issue with. That
Right, but
Obama,
conservatives have no problem with Donald Trump pardoning one of the biggest violators of civil rights.
I was going to get to Trump's thing, but one of the issues that conservatives tend to bring up, and I say that as somebody who was a conservative in the Republican Party for 30-odd years, was the overuse of executive power. And I still believe that that's a real problem that we have, that you can't have a king for president. He can't just make these blanket statements and judgments if you're going to follow the Constitution. Most of these decisions, even if they could legally be made by a president, they ought to be discussed in Congress. And if the representatives of the people feel that that's a direction they want to go, then they should do it, and then the president should sign off if that's the case.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting, and there's more to this article from Reuters, but again, this is a broader discussion that is worth having. One thing that I found interesting during the Obama administration, specifically when he wound up implementing the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival program, is the conservatives that were saying, this is some kind of amnesty. He doesn't have this authority. But yet they looked the other way when George H.W. Bush issued some kind of very similar thing. George W. Bush issued some kind of similar thing. Ronald Reagan issued some kind of similar thing. Dwight Eisenhower issued some kind of similar thing. But that's different because those were all my guys.
I think
and it's always different when my team does it.
Right. And I think Obama threw out sort of the fighting words, which was to go on TV and say, I've got a pen and I've got a phone and I'm not afraid to use them.
Right.
Basically saying that if Congress will not act, then I will act by executive order. And here comes Trump saying, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to repeal these one a day until they're all gone. And what does Trump do day one? Starts with executive orders.
Right.
So we have the same thing. This, to me, is the issue.
And your statement about, some people on the right saying, well, Obama's just trying to make immigration personal. Well, everything should be personal.
True.
If you really want to understand immigration history in this country, everybody needs to go visit Ellis Island and see how things used to be. See how things changed to where it used to be show up, get your Starbucks name, you're good. And then it turned into show up, pass a test, take all of these, things. Your calls and thoughts, 855-450, free.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-957-9489. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-9489. That's 1-800-957-9489. 1-800-957-9489.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And you don't need money to do business on Simbi.com. It's a slick, easy-to-use marketplace where you trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy. Simbi.com. You will not believe the diversity of services on Simbi.com. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. Go create an account at Simbi.com. That's SIMBI.com. Take a look around. Post your services. Simbi.com. SIMBI.com. Talking about the Trump announcement, actually the announcement from Attorney General Jeff Sessions on behalf of Donald Trump, saying that Trump was going to wind up repealing the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program that was instituted by Obama roughly 5 years ago. Trump later issued a statement after Sessions made the announcement. Trump's statement says, in part, "I do not favor punishing children, most of whom are now adults, for the actions of their parents, but we must also recognize that we're a nation of opportunity because we're a nation of laws."
It's a horrible Trump impersonation, don't you think?
Well, Trump's a horrible person, so
I was
it's
asking
fitting.
Heather, how would you rate that Trump impersonation? On a scale of 1 to 5. Yeah.
I do the best Trump impression of all the Trump impressions. I've got the best words. They're the biggest words. And my hands are not tiny.
Okay, it was
Okay,
a 5.
you've had
now
your
it's a
moments.
7.
Time for the vote. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say it started at a 5, but then he just swooped in and bumped it up to a 7.
Wow, I think I'm tracking with you. Yeah, he kind of redeemed himself towards the end there.
Yeah.
7 stars.
Yeah, it was more on content than actual.
Trump also denounced Obama's program as an amnesty-first approach towards undocumented immigration and pressed his nationalist America First message, saying that despite concerns voiced by his critics about the fate of the Dreamers, above all else, we must remember that young Americans have dreams too.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm not sure what one has to do with the other. Everybody has dreams, and
Martin
I'm
Luther
sorry.
King Jr. had a dream.
Yeah, but to me, it's the conundrum of the illegal alien who, on the one hand, is too lazy to work and just wants to accept welfare, yet will take your job.
It's Schrodinger's immigrant.
Right. Schrodinger, perfect. That's exactly what it is. How is this on both sides possible? Personally, I've said it here before, I favor border welcome centers. Come on in, we'll see what kind of work we need you for, and realize that the only jobs we might have available are going to be working for very low wages, cleaning hotel rooms or picking fruit or agricultural work, but we need the people. That's why they come here, because Americans will not fill some of these jobs.
Right. There were inmates in Georgia several years ago that were given the option of you can go work in the farms and pick these crops, or you can go to solitary confinement. And after a day working in the fields,
give me the whole.
The vast majority wound up saying, yeah, that solitary confinement thing doesn't sound so bad right about now.
Yeah. And it's a fact. I mean, and I understand people in America, the whole idea of the entry-level job seems to have gone by us. When you were a kid, when I was growing up, we took jobs for $2 an hour, you know? And no, it wasn't. And the actual minimum wage was higher than that. Both of these two are looking at me with smirks on their face because I'm older than dirt.
No, I'm looking at you with a smirk on my face because I actually remember working for less than that.
Right.
Because my dad ran the concession stand and he needed free labor.
Sure.
So there I was, 5 years old, sitting on a stool working the counter of the concession stand where kids older than me would drop a handful of change on the counter and say, what can I buy with this?
Right.
I would count the change and then be able to tell them all the various combination of things that they could buy.
I could check out the big brain on Darryl. We were talking about Pulp Fiction
Did
earlier.
you sell crepes?
We did not sell crepes. We sold bags of chips, hot dogs, soda.
But the point being,
and paddleboat rides.
Yeah.
The idea was, as in back in the day, was there were all these low-paying jobs that if you wanted to get ahead, you would accept one for very little money.
Yep.
And you would prove your worth, and you would probably be promoted because, hey, you did such a great job.
Right?
Because, yeah, it was legal to do. And then we got minimum wage laws that said, okay, it basically says that any job under minimum wage, if that's all it's worth, is now illegal. So when you make jobs illegal, if it's not financially feasible to pay somebody, $7.50 an hour to clean hotel rooms, then that job's now illegal. And we have illegal immigrants who will come in and do that work because they're happy with that wage. The idea that we could make certain jobs illegal just because they're not worth a certain amount of money is insanity, and it decimates the possibilities for young Americans, not only illegal aliens.
Right, and a lot of it is also tied to some of the weird visa restrictions and regulations that got implemented, what was it, back in the 60s?
I was just going to say, shouldn't work visas be maybe a more targeted area of...
People tend to forget, though, they're all about free markets. We've got to have free markets, but they always just conveniently forget that labor is part of every market. Every market there is always involves labor, and sometimes that labor is rare and it costs lots of money to get. I cannot hire a neurosurgeon for minimum wage. And
you can't.
There are some jobs that are very menial and do not require high levels of skill, and there's no reason why you should pay skilled labor wages for a job that doesn't require it.
Right. And
it's
if you
just
were,
common sense.
If you were to find a neurosurgeon to work for minimum wage, well, you know what they say, you get what you pay for. Getting back into the article here about Trump's rescinding the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals programs. On Tuesday evening, Trump tweeted that lawmakers had 6 months to legalize DACA, and if they did not, he would revisit the issue. Obama issued his own statement saying, "This is about young people who grew up in America, kids who study in our schools, young adults who are starting careers, patriots who pledge allegiance to our flag. These dreamers are Americans in their hearts, in their minds, in every single way but one, on paper."
For those of you at home, that was not President Obama. That was Darryl, again, doing a presidential impersonation. How do you rate his impersonation of Obama, Heather?
That was terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, okay?
I'm going to go Charles Barkley and say that was terrible.
Yes.
Just terrible.
I was actually thinking that, and I'm glad you said Charles Barkley because that was what popped into my mind.
Okay, continue on with your impersonation.
The Trump administration, now I'm impersonating myself, the Trump administration said nobody covered by the program, which provides work permits in addition to deportation protection and primarily benefits Hispanics, would be affected before March 5th. He said most people covered by DACA are now in their early 20s. Trump shifted responsibility to a Congress controlled by his fellow Republicans and said it was now up to lawmakers to pass immigration legislation that could address the fate of those protected by DACA who would be in danger of deportation.
Seems like kind of a punt on his point.
Yes.
Just I don't want to make the bad call, so here's a little bit of wiggle room I got. Let's toss it back to Congress and let's see if they're going to be the bad guys.
Yes, and I had mentioned earlier about the constitutional authority to issue pardons. I actually have the language in front of me. The president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So saying, hey, if you meet these certain criteria, you're not getting deported, seems to me that's either a reprieve or a pardon.
Well, there's that, and I mean, as the head of the executive branch, that means every cabinet official works for him, and he can, it seems to me, at any time say, you know, I'm not really worried about getting rid of dreamers, so let's make that a really low priority. It's sort of what he did with marijuana, federal whatchamacallit.
Well, that was also added into some spending bills as well, of no federal funding shall be used to enforce federal marijuana policies in the following states that have legalized, the following states that have medicinal. Yeah, so that's all in the spending bills as well.
Gotcha.
In addition to saying, yeah, just don't really do anything with that. Oh, yeah, and the asset forfeiture program, yep, can't use that, but Jeff Sessions turned it around. Yep, we're going to steal your stuff.
He loves it.
Hour 3 coming up next. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,340 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,623. Antiwar.com reports 1 week after the Pentagon announced an escalation of the Afghan war of an unspecified size, anonymous U.S. officials are saying that the deployment will be about 3,500, bringing the total size of U.S. forces in the country to 14,500. The Pentagon would officially neither confirm nor deny the figure, saying that they will not comment in any way on the amount until there's an official announcement. This figure is roughly in line with expectations of the size of the deployment. This is, however, expected to be only the first deployment in a much broader open escalation announced by President Trump last month. It's not clear that subsequent deployments will be announced at all, with or without numbers. President Trump has been keen to keep the deployment sizes secret, saying the enemy must never know, while Pentagon officials have said that they favor more transparency, but so far have not offered such transparency in any real way. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports federal officials will not fine United Airlines over an incident in April in which a passenger was forcibly removed from his seat after the airline oversold the flight. The Department of Transportation conducted an investigation into the incident, which was caught on video, prompting a public relations problem for United Airlines, as well as a lawsuit from the passenger, David Dow, who settled with the airline for an undisclosed amount. Despite the backlash, the DOT told United Airlines it found no reason to issue a fine, according to a letter from May and obtained by passenger advocacy group Flyers Rights through a Freedom of Information Act request. In the letter, Blaine Workey, the Assistant General Counsel for the DOT, said the agency reviewed the protocol United Airlines followed and found minor discrepancies with how it handled an overbooked situation. As for how Dow was treated, the physical aspect of the removal was not mentioned. Workey also said there is insufficient evidence in the record to find that United involuntarily bumped Dr. Dow without offering them the opportunity to continue separately on Flight 3411. He added, therefore, we conclude that enforcement action is not warranted in this matter. Paul Hudson, president of Flyers Rights, disagreed with the DOT's decision and said Dow's removal was egregious in every sense of the word. Hudson also added for the Department of Transportation to conclude that United Airlines' conduct did not warrant an enforcement action is a dereliction of duty. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Hurricane Irma, one of the most powerful Atlantic storms in a century, howled past Puerto Rico on Wednesday after thrashing several smaller Caribbean islands with roof-ripping winds, drenching rain, and pounding surf on a collision course with Florida. At least 4 people were reported killed on 4 different islands by Irma, which weather forecasters have described as a potentially catastrophic Category 5 storm, the highest classification for hurricanes. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said the dual island nation of Antigua and Barbuda was especially hard hit. The northernmost island, Barbuda, home to roughly 1,800 people, was totally demolished with 90% of dwellings there leveled. Irma, with top sustaining winds of 185 miles per hour, is on track to reach Florida this weekend, becoming the second major hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland in as many weeks. While Irma's intensity could fluctuate and its precise course remains uncertain, the storm was expected to remain at least a Category 4 storm before arriving in Florida. 2 other hurricanes formed on Wednesday. Katia in the Gulf of Mexico posed no threat to the United States, according to U.S. forecasters, but Hurricane Jose in the open Atlantic about 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles Islands could also threaten the U.S. mainland. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Today's fitness trackers can tell how far you're running, but tomorrow's can tell you why you're running. The new Nike Run Logic Plus pinpoints the desperate psychological demons at the root of your exercise routine. Tech Trends reporter Aaron Vaughn has more.
It's a problem all runners face. You run and you run and you run, but it's never enough. No matter how many miles you put in, that gnawing ache at your soul never goes away. Now Nike's engineers have found a way for runners to use that existential pain to push themselves even farther. Users keep the device on their wrist at all times. It not only records running times and distances, it also analyzes all of the user's social interactions and emotional patterns. It then creates a unique, detailed profile that dredges the inspiring well of inner turmoil inside every runner. Early users say they notice a big impact on their workout.
I started marathoning when I was 28. I thought it was time to get in shape, but then once I realized I was actually running from my meaningless job in ad sales, I started running a lot more, like all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 3 in studio. It's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we've been all over the map, the round Earth map, not the flat Earth map. That's a completely different map that we don't ever travel to anymore.
But I saw a great video.
Oh, I'm sure you did. The one with the lemon and the plate.
Did you see that one?
I have not seen this one.
I'll send it to you. It's great.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely hilarious.
The Earth is indeed a lemon.
Oh, and did you see the video that explained what flat earthers think happens during a solar eclipse?
No.
Oh, it's absolutely hilarious.
All right. Send us a link.
It's, two spinning, so the sun is one spinning thing going around the flat Earth, and then the moon's another spinning thing going over the flat Earth.
How do you
and
think
at some point,
somebody
they wind up
gets though, to that point where they're literally believing? Do you think it's just not enough social interaction?
No, I think my question is, all right. So you've come up with this weird scenario to where a solar eclipse could happen on a flat Earth, but what about that lunar eclipse?
Well, I think to answer your question, there have been people that have doubted whether the Earth has been round since people started saying the Earth is round. People walk outdoors and they don't see rounded horizons. You know what I mean?
I think the majority of their philosophies there are based a lot in fear and paranoia of Antarctica, we can't go there because the government and it's all these open-ended
people do go there all the time.
Maybe, but that's what I'm saying is that their philosophies, and I've noticed this, I feel like there's actually a handful of libertarians that I think might have some type of paranoia.
Oh,
because
we do.
It's more than a handful.
Yeah,
there's a huge group of them or something that I'm kind of I don't know, is mental illness contagious?
No, I count myself among them in some respects. I mean, I do believe that our government does some acts of complete evil that they are not up front of.
I mean, there's
not up
groups
front.
in there. I mean, we've seen
right. But regarding flat earthers,
corruption
like I said, this is not a new theory that the Earth is flat. The Earth this was a theory before the theory that the Earth is round. People just realized it was flat. So you have this historical aspect, number one. And secondly, I think the real resurgence has been due to social media. And I will say some people that have monetized this very successfully.
Yes.
In
have.
putting together all sorts of, quote unquote evidence. They don't really offer evidence, but they bring up questions and say, well, where's the answer for this and where's the answer for that? So some people tend to look for conspiracies.
I will say this, that and you don't have to be high because I wasn't the first time. If you lay down, and I forget if my head was facing due north and I leaned my head a certain way, I actually could feel the rotation of the Earth.
This is where we say we want some of what you were smoking.
I wasn't high the first time.
Okay.
So just saying that, it is possible to feel the rotation of the Earth. Your calls and thoughts welcome about anything.
Did you hear, on the topic of like paranoia though, did you guys see that video?
There are a bunch of videos.
Okay, well, the filming that I did for News to Share.
Right.
Well, my friend Ford Fisher, who runs the media production company, he filmed the Charlottesville stuff.
Right.
Well, some guy, I guess, picked apart his live stream footage of Charlottesville and made like a YouTube video called Analyzing Charlottesville.
54 minutes long.
It's like 54 minutes long. It's like 300,000 views.
Time.
Yeah, but he's picking apart the live stream. It comes to this like conspiracy conclusion that Ford Fisher's like some agent
the maroon van.
Yeah, that like during his live stream, it points the camera right at the two of the three vehicles involved. And so the guy starts going like, why would he look right at it? And perhaps like, is this the reason
he knew it was going to happen. He's part of the conspiracy.
He knew it was going to happen. And he goes, and look he's filming the protesters going down this road. So he might be giving basically intel to like some government false flag operation. And I'm like,
yeah, it was.
Wow.
I did watch.
But it's got 300,000 views.
I was doing
that doesn't mean that people watch the entire thing. That just means 300,000 people started watching the video.
Right. Well, I'll say I'm one of those people that had the entire thing playing while I was doing work from home. So I saw the video. I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. Let me pop that up. And I thought it might be something
like
compelling.
Knowing Ford personally, I had to watch it. You know what I mean? So I'm watching it, and I thought it was a joke at first, and I saw it when it only had like a couple, like maybe 2,000 views.
But it could be a joke.
But that's the thing. The thing is, and here's where I come from.
I think this guy's serious though.
Right. But here's where I come from with a lot of conspiracy theories is our government is consistently lying to us. And you can go back and you can see all these conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Let's talk about the Gulf of Tonkin, okay? The start of U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, the government stated over and over that this is exactly what happened. And then guess what? We find out it was not that way. We can look at the
USS Maine that got us into the Spanish-American War.
We can look at the Lusitania.
I don't think people that sit behind a computer and never leave their house are really fit to, pick apart a live stream video and then form this whole conspiracy.
I get it. But I don't misjudge anybody who digs. And
I do.
Sometimes,
I mean, the guy was giving him crap for taking a 3-minute break under an awning after wearing a bulletproof vest in like 100-degree weather in a crowd full of people.
To be fair, you have a relationship. Let me say that completely again.
There
you don't
are
have
all
a
kinds
relationship.
of relationships.
You know Ford. So, yeah, you're a little defensive, but I understand when all this stuff happens day in and day out, we find out some other way that the government has lied to us, that people do start suspecting everything, every action. And they see this and they go, here was this big blow up. It came out of nowhere. And here this guy, at least it seemed to one person, seemed to be at the right place at the right time and got all these particular angles. I get it completely. 99% of this stuff is just insanity.
Yeah,
but every once in a while they get it right.
A rock because he thinks literally the government needs to have people on the ground live streaming vehicle locations. Right? They're using Ford on the ground his live stream, they're secretly watching so that they can tell where the vehicles are and where the crowd is, so they know how to execute their plan, because we don't have like drones or anything that can fly. We don't have GPS technology.
We can't tap into every single video camera on that entire street.
Your
and get
calls
even more.
and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Speaking of nuts and conspiracies, we've got Ricky calling in on Skype. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, Brother Darryl, I wish that was the case. I truly do.
How are you, Ricky?
Hi, Ricky.
Hi there, Sister Heather.
Hello.
Brother Chris.
Go ahead with your thoughts, Ricky.
Well, Confederacy. I tried very hard ever since I was 15 years old, and I'm 43 years old now. I tried just like Jefferson tried. And just like Jefferson knew. And the moment he became an anti-federalist, and the moment he went on that route, later on, it's a kind of a sad story with Tom at the end. I feel the same way. And it's time.
What are you talking about, Ricky?
Go ahead. Continue your thought.
Civil rights, freedom and independence for all with liberty through democracy. There's only one way to achieve that, and that would be Section 1 and 2 and 7 pursuant to Section 20 and 21 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Article I in my case.
Right.
That would be my freedom of speech. That would be
right
my
to bear
right
arms.
Well, I'm sorry, my inherent rights of mankind,
Right.
my political power, my freedom of speech, my right to bear arms, and also my right to petition.
Right.
It's
All
time
right.
to blow
I
away.
think you're trying to get to a point somewhere.
We're gonna hold
grab
you
a
over.
piece of paper and a writing utensil and jot down some notes and make your point. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is America's #1 hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now, we're giving everyone who texts EASY77 to 543-543 an absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text EASY77 to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text EASY77 to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. EASY77 to 543-543.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we kind of went down a road talking about some conspiracies, but something that is not a conspiracy theory. It's fact. You can save big time on things that you're going to purchase from Amazon. And you can do that when you go to saveatpurse.com. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%, up to 33%. Again, on things that you are going to buy from Amazon. So what you do, you go to saveatpurse.com, put things in an Amazon, or create an account. You then put things in an Amazon wish list. You import that wish list into your account at saveatpurse.com, and you fund the account with Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrencies. And then you wait a little while, sometimes a couple hours, sometimes a couple of days, depending on what size savings you're going for. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I recently bought a crepe maker and wound up saving 19% because I used saveatpurse.com. Back to the phones, or actually back to Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in from Pennsylvania. Ricky, you were trying to make a point about Confederacy and Thomas Jefferson and anti-federalist and rights and something. Continue with your thought.
Well, history is repeating itself. As of 2016, logical, scientific, and other reasons for all of that. The point being, I sit here with my $2 bills in my hand, one for each state and the Commonwealths. I got 100 of them. I like to have an edge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I admit it to myself throughout the years. There is only way. Just like Jackass said, but he don't see what coming. I do. The only language he says.
What?
Jackass, that would be our president.
Oh, okay.
At least for now, till we have a new one.
Okay.
You would make a good president of New Hampshire, Darryl. I don't know about Pennsylvania.
He's run for president of the United States.
New Hampshire used to have a president, but after the current constitution, the president of New Hampshire became the governor of New Hampshire. Was elected yearly until the mid-1800s, then became every 2 years.
Which is the shortest. The shortest term for governors, us and Vermont.
Tied with Vermont, yes.
Yep, do 2-year terms. We can throw the bums out with more frequency.
So continue with your thought, Ricky.
Well, I mean, the thing that the man with the plan feared the most is revolution and a civil war. It's already too late for the revolution. Official last July. Now, as far as the rest, he ain't going to be in control of that either, even though he's trying with Antifa and all of that.
Why do you feel it's too late for revolution?
No, it's not too late. It's already going. It's too late for them to
stop it. So you're saying revolution is occurring now. Okay.
Yes, and it needs in the Civil War. Yes, I have been encouraging it. It needs to be on our terms. And we take back what is ours, plain and simple. And the tools we have, all that we need to do is people need to feel that they can. People need to be able to feel comfortable in who they are and what they believe in, and ultimately finish it. And then we have freedom and independence for all with liberty through democracy. And that can be, of course, and will be with the Confederate flag and a shotgun by your side.
Okay.
'Cause there ain't nothing wrong with that.
So I want to talk a little bit about Confederacy because you brought that up. And
Sure.
And I'm just wondering, Ricky, do you support the idea of replacing the U.S. Constitution with something more like a confederacy? And just on general, very general terms, a confederacy being a somewhat loose organization of sovereign states?
First off, let me go the other way around, starting with what we have. And that's what we need and what we got, the state constitution.
Okay.
Second of all, as far as the government goes with the Constitution, it needs to be blown away completely.
Okay, so do away with the federal Constitution.
Yes.
There is
I
no
agree.
more these United States of America, and you have 50 sovereign states, and that's the end of it as far as you're concerned?
Nope. One more thing that's the big question. What do we do with the executive branch? What do we do with the money?
Well,
how does that work?
If you did away with the Constitution, there would cease to be an executive branch. Correct?
See, but these people aren't just going to leave.
Well, let's just say that there is a revolution or there is a civil war or whatever you're saying.
Let's go one step further and actually give an example from history.
Okay.
What was it, 1990, possibly 89, after all of the republics had seceded from the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, leaving just Russia. And was it Boris Yeltsin that then stepped down as president of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics? There wasn't then just a group of people that said, no, we are the rest of the executive branch of the USSR and we're staying put.
Right.
No, they went home.
Yeah.
So similar sort of thing if, the United States of America federal government ceased to exist. Well, all right. Everybody go home now. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Right. And I think New York would probably come out the best because they could seize the holdings of West Point's gold. They could seize the holdings of the Federal Reserve's gold in New York. Kentucky would do very well seizing that.
In theory.
Potentially.
Presuming anything's actually in Fort Knox.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If there is any gold there at all. And you could see Maryland or Virginia, or maybe Maryland, Virginia fighting over the land that is D.C.
No, that would default to Maryland because all of the parts of the District of Criminals that were originally taken from Virginia went back to Virginia, and the vast majority of that is now Arlington Cemetery.
Yep. Well, there you go. So, maybe it would be that peaceful or not.
Thing, though.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're not interrupting. Go ahead, Ricky.
Okay. I mean, when you were talking about that, the one thing that was in the news, working and kind of forgotten, was New York, in the sense that part of it.
He just mentioned New York.
But part of New York wants to and did become part of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and secede. Part of the secessionist movement a few years ago. I'd be more than happy, as long as they abide by the law of the Commonwealth, and freedom and independence for all with liberty through democracy.
Now, those words are completely contradictory, and I'm not going to hold you over to explain why liberty and democracy are contradictory. No, Ricky, you said liberty through democracy. Those words contradict one another. One says that you have rights. The other says you only have rights if a majority of people agree. Thank you for the call, Ricky. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
The percentage of women who own guns is growing. American women are more knowledgeable and better equipped to defend themselves than ever before. So, why is it that every time I go to a gun shop, I feel like they're talking down to me? Like, hey little lady, let me show you what you need. It's like all they want to do is sell me a pink gun. If you're tired of feeling that too, visit Guns for Gals, a specialty firearms boutique designed to empower women with information about firearm safety and to equip them with the means to protect themselves. The owners go out of their way to find products specifically for women, and they actually listen and ask questions to help you find the right products to meet your needs. If they wouldn't own it themselves, they won't sell it. Guns for Gals is located at 2035 Central Circle, Suite 108 in McKinney, Texas. Open Monday 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Thursday 11 to 7. And on weekends, you can find them at a gun show near you. Or shop online at www.gunsforgals.com. Guns for Gals, more than just a gun shop. It's how gun shopping should be.
Free Talk Live.
The reason why I reject violence, and part of that is there's a humility in it, and that you have to acknowledge that I may not be right. You know, I want to have an open discussion with people. Let's talk this stuff out. I'm not going to impose my views on you with violence, because I will not presume to be so right that I'm just going to force my views on you.
In addition, if your views are so valid and so great, then you shouldn't have to force them on anybody. Then you should be able to persuade folks.
Right. This is truly the acid test of a good idea. If it's a good idea to educate everybody, then you should be able to do it in a free market. If it's a good idea
without force,
right? Without force. If you've got enough persuasive ability to convince a majority of people to vote to violently fund something, you've got enough potential to motivate that many people to contribute toward it.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And let's go to the phones. We've got Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, Darryl, I just want to say that I had also dreams of flying, just like you. So
okay.
I was thinking, so I was like, well, how come I'm not a bird? How come I have memories of flying? Well, from many of my readings is that in Atlantis, continent of Atlantis, people could levitate.
Interesting.
So, so the gardens have to be beautiful from above, and I've always been always attracted to knowing more about Atlantis, and I think this is that I think we both had lifetimes on Atlantis. Do you have memories of being on Atlantis? I've always read a lot of things about it.
Darryl?
Nope, I have no memories of being on Atlantis, but dreams about flying don't necessarily mean that you lived on Atlantis or that you ever actually wound up flying. Well, according to dreamscloud.com, dreams of flying may represent high hopes, feelings that nothing can hold you down or keep you from reaching your goals. It could also indicate that you're feeling in control of your life and your emotions.
So, Darryl, do you believe that people may experience more than one life, that the consciousness lives on and it may appear at different points in space and time? That's kind of what you're describing.
I've been
Sarah.
so high that the past, present, and future all happen simultaneously and time doesn't exist.
No, I mean, some people really do believe that, be it reincarnation or just perpetuality of the soul and its ability to manifest itself at various points. I personally don't think it's far-fetched. I have no evidence of it. I've never experienced anything like that I know of. But then again, I don't remember most of my dreams.
Flying can also signify that you're compensating in your subconscious from a lack of freedom in your waking life and may suggest that you're overlooking or avoiding things.
How about you, Heather? Do you think the soul lives on?
That's a good dream interpretation. And I just want to mention that, the Atlanteans helped the Egyptians build the pyramids. They have levitation technology.
That's a theory. That's a theory.
Yeah, they have pictures. The hieroglyphics, they've seen pictures of the levitation rod. It was not the people that moved the stones. It was a levitation rod technology.
Well, that theory makes more sense to me than the nut job who analyzed Ford's video. So I'm going to give Sarah points on that one. That theory sounds so much more plausible.
I think it's careful.
How does big rocks get up there, Chris?
I try to be careful when I'm saying proof of, because Sarah, I don't know if there's actual proof, but there are certainly things in hieroglyphics and things that have been passed down that, to me, some pretty amazing things. I mean, we talk about,
maybe
the little
visitors
things that look like airplanes that were found inside the tombs. Really interesting. The hieroglyph of the guy that looks like he's wearing a spaceman suit.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Does that mean that, spacemen and a flying thing came to visit the ancient Egyptians? No. Does it mean that they didn't? No. It also doesn't mean that either. There are things that we will never know the answer to, and I think you will drive yourself crazy if you try to find an answer to everything.
Oh, of course, but I think some of these things we may, and I think it's interesting stuff to look at. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, the thing is that a lot of my readings is that the Atlanteans, they had vehicles that floated above water, that is floated on top of the ground, and they had the vehicles that floated, and then they had submarines also. So I don't know the pictures of these aliens in spacesuits. I don't know what they really are, but I'm sure that the aliens have come and visited our planet. I was also told that
I believe that
a lot
too.
of the people that were here that were actually planet from other planets. They actually lived on other planets. Like, for example, the Zulus. They actually came from the Dark Star planet. Their ancestors.
The Dark Star planet. Where is that?
Did you say Dog Star?
Dark Star planet. So they're plants, and the lot of I don't know what but they know where they're from because they have pictures of the planet in the orbit. And then they know that's where they're from. So a lot of the people that are here, they're originally not from planet Earth. They came in like a spacecraft, and then they planted here.
Maybe that's why Mars is desolate, because thousands of years ago humans left Mars after they destroyed that planet and came here.
Could be. I just want to say that thank you, Sarah, for giving me my Art Bell moment. I always wondered what it would be like to host Art Bell show, and this is it's kind of like Coast to Coast AM.
Well,
kind of cool.
I'll do it again. Okay, I'm having a lot of fun, so I'll definitely bring it again.
If you have any other weird dreams, let us know.
I, for one, can't wait.
Sarah, thank you for the call.
I do think, though, to answer Chris's question earlier, though, I do think that there could be something like, I don't know, else out there in terms of the soul and it living on and consciousness. It is, when you look into that from quantum physics and all that stuff, it is very, very interesting, especially with the transhumanism movement, right? There's that guy out in California.
Zoltan. It's Van Zoltan.
Yeah. What he is doing, it sounds crazy when you first read into it, but then when you think about all this cyborg stuff that's going on. And look at the people that are wanting to freeze their bodies there and get brought back to life at a later date and all this crazy stuff that's going on.
Speaking of the transhumanist thing, did you see the story from a couple of weeks ago about the pacemaker company that had to recall a bunch of pacemakers because there was a hack vulnerability because all of these pacemakers were IoT devices?
Yeah.
Wait, what is that? What do you mean IoT?
Internet of Things. Do you know what the S in IoT stands for? Security. Do you know what the P in IoT stands for? Privacy. But there's not a P or an S in IoT.
Yeah, basically pacemakers work wirelessly. I mean, once the thing goes inside you and it's keeping your heart rate steady, then any interaction, like when they go to program it or when they have to charge batteries, they can do it.
My grandmother had one. She couldn't go near our magnetic cooktop.
Yeah, I believe it. But yeah, if things are made wirelessly and they're made to communicate, then yeah, by default they can be hacked. So yeah, that's not
there were
too
I
surprising.
think 500,000 pacemakers that wound up being recalled. The people had to go in and have some kind of upgrade to it to secure it from being hacking vulnerable.
465,000 people,
which is close to 500,000.
Yep, it's a big number.
That's crazy.
But back to what you were talking about. Yeah, I think I think that the human body, I think we are animated by some charge. There is electricity within our bodies, and when we die, that charge dissipates. We know that based on the conservation of energy and matter, that nothing can be destroyed. It can only be transformed into something else. I don't think it's far-fetched. I don't.
Your calls and thoughts, welcome. 855-450 free. Let's go to Fred calling in from New York. Fred, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi. So I'd like to keep my topic on Earth.
It'll be a relief. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on, Fred. Hold on. We'll bring you back. Your calls and thoughts, welcome. Metaphysical, physical, sub-physical, I don't even know if that's a term. Quantum physics, I know that's a real word.
It is.
Basically, anything that's on your mind. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, Simbi.com.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make
Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And I want to invite you to try My Pillow risk-free for 60 days. Well, not mine because it's mine, but you can get your very own My Pillow and it's going to be the best pillow you've ever used. And if you don't think so, you can get your money back. Again, 60-day risk-free try. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using this thing for a long time. When I went to Rogers Campground a couple weeks ago for the New Hampshire Cannabis Freedom Festival, yep, I took my pillow with me because it's that good. And unlike a regular pillow, you can actually take your MyPillow, throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it's still usable. Get all of that dead skin and dirt off of it. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own MyPillow at half price, or you can get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if you don't like it for some reason in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And the pillow itself, guaranteed to last 10 years. MyPillow.com, code FTL. Let's go back to the phones. We've got Fred calling in from New York. Fred, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, you might be able to tell I'm pretty young, but lately, like you've been hearing all these stuff about like nuclear bombs and stuff, and have you ever just sat and wondered, like, what if you just saw like coming out of the air, and all of a sudden there's an explosion in the distance, and everybody's running? What would you think?
I kind of grew up with that. So I'm like, you're very young. I'm very old. I'm not very old, but I'm old enough that I grew up.
Chris used to ride a dinosaur to high school in Bedrock High. Went to school with Pebbles and Bam Bam.
I grew up during the Cold War. So through most of my life, we were under the constant threat of the Soviet Union launching a preemptive missile strike against the United States. It was something that we were taught in schools. We practiced getting underneath the desks and told not to look out the windows because we could be blinded by the flash of nuclear bombs and things like that. And it was sort of drilled into it. People talked about building bomb shelters because, you know, if the Soviets, if the Russians are going to nuke us, what's that going to be like? So
I don't think in this day and age, though, like that
a threat isn't really there.
I don't think I don't really think there's a threat there. I mean, the United States is number one in terms of its military technology and power. I mean, we dominate. We're in 220 countries, for crying out loud. Like, we are like the number one. Like, if any attack is going to happen on American soil, in my opinion, you're going to need some type of like inside intelligence to allow it to happen.
I disagree. I think it's pretty easy to fly a nuke over and to land one. What I think keeps that from happening is the understanding that it is a suicide move.
I don't think so.
So Kim Jong-un, if he really wants to destroy his own country and himself and wipe it off the map, then he could lob a nuke at the United States or
what's
at Guam.
The term for that?
Mutually assured destruction.
Yes.
MAD.
And Fred, thank you for the
Alicia
call.
might have let him talk a little more. He might have had more questions.
Yeah. But that is the deterrent that we've always been under.
Fred, call back next Thursday.
Yeah, please. That is the belief. That's what keeps us safe. That, you know, if you launch against us, we have so much we'll turn your country into a sheet of radioactive glass.
Yeah, well, that too. We also have like an incredible defense. You know what I mean? In order to counteract, like if somebody were to fire off a missile toward the United States.
Have you really been following the results of our defense? The track record is not great in anti-ballistic missile technology.
I know offense spending is a little bit higher up, you know, than defense spending.
Very much so. But we've been trying to develop this technology since the 80s, you know, with Reagan and his Star Wars program. We're just going to come up with lasers or missiles that are going to shoot the incoming missiles out of the sky. Right. But it's tough. I mean, you're talking about things that are moving at real high rates of speed. Two objects moving at really high rates of speed that have to explode very close to each other or strike. So the tests that we've done have not been, they don't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling.
I feel pretty good. I think that, you know, if anybody were to try that to the United States, that we'd have some type of, you know.
Yeah, well, in the last
Defense.
50 years, when other countries have had that ability to attack us, no one has that way.
Yeah, because we would, I think after, I hate
Right,
to
again,
say
it's
it,
that
but
mutually assured
Nagasaki and
destruction.
Hiroshima,
Right.
the United States, has that heat of passion.
So being somewhat of a prepper, and
you poke us and
exactly. One of my favorite books, sort of the post-dystopian books, was.
Go ahead, Chris. Give us your book of the week.
Well, it's kind of blasé, but 1 Second After by Steve Forstchen. I'm probably getting the first name wrong. But the basic premise is this, that North Korea develops a very rudimentary...
William R. Forstchen.
Thank you. Develops a very rudimentary nuclear program and is able to mount a nuke on top of a missile. But instead of launching from over there and trying to actually nuke us, what they decide to do is to put these missiles on container ships, sail them into the Caribbean, and lob them to a very high altitude over the United States and detonate them there. What that causes is what's called an electromagnetic pulse, which can wipe out the entire power grid, wipe out most anything that has transistors that isn't tube-based.
Yeah, but if they have the technology that can do that,
ages.
then the United States probably already has technology that can prevent that, is what I'm saying. Is I think United States is one step ahead of everybody else.
That's where we're not, and that's what a bunch of congressional hearings have proven, that we are not prepared. Our electronics and our power grid isn't hardened against an electromagnetic pulse attack.
Right. The only way to defend against an EMP, as I understand it, is to basically put your electronics inside a Faraday cage.
Yeah, and there are other ways, and the military has lots of hardened hardware, and it doesn't mean, even if they did that type of attack, it doesn't prevent us from pick one of the 100 nuclear submarines from launching on North Korea and wiping them out. The reason they did it from the Caribbean was because in the book, nobody's exactly sure who the culprits were. And
right, because there are dozens of countries in the Caribbean.
Right. So it was just it was kind of an interesting thought experiment there. The problem is we're not well hardened, and we are so dependent on technology that if we lost all cell phone systems, if we lost our power grid, people today don't know how to. A lot of people don't know how to start a fire. How do you plant and garden and make it through a winter in New Hampshire?
Start a fire with a 9-volt battery and steel wool.
That's one way. That's correct. But that was the novel, and
you start a fire by having friends like Darryl.
Exactly. Invite MacGyver over to spend your apocalypse.
To answer the actual question of what would you do if you saw a nuclear blast, well, if it's close enough to where you can see it, basically the only thing you have time to do is bend over and kiss your butt goodbye.
I would hope I'd be one of those people that end up living and I just get radioactive superpowers.
Oh, see?
And that's where the X-Men come from.
That's my conspiracy theory. I'm immortal. I can't be taken
What would
out.
your superpower be? Or if you could pick one, what would it be?
She would be able to literally even.
I want to live forever. I want to be immortal.
Immortality
I just watched
can't
Twilight
be killed?
the other day, so
Okay,
I'd be
cool.
like Edward.
You have to watch the British comedy Misfits.
What would your
Immortality
superpower
comes in.
be?
God, I don't know. I've often thought, I think the most useful would probably be maybe invisibility or something like that.
Daryl's would be
Flight.
best crepe
Flight.
maker.
You want to fly?
Ever.
Flight,
like you could when you lived in Atlantis.
Yes, exactly like that.
Ago.
When he lived
Yes,
making
exactly
crepes
like that
for all
when
the
I
people
when I
in
made
Atlantis.
crepes in Atlantis. And
Air
then
crepes.
and then I put on that spaceman helmet and visited Cairo and just totally confused everybody, and they thought I came from Uranus.
Daryl helped build the pyramids.
Exactly. All conspiracies started with Darryl. Now it all makes sense.
It's like
full circle.
It's like if you watch Game of Thrones, there's the Bran is all the Bran's theory. Well, no, just Darryl is all of the people throughout history that did all of the unexplained things. Apparently,
nice
is one theory. I don't buy into it. We're out of time for tonight. Otherwise, we could continue going down this weird train.
It's been an interesting show.
We're always available online at freetalklive.com.
Have you?
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.